doing well. I will tell you this, and I'm sorry about it. I was out for a little while. I am right back in. This team has dragged me right back in, Craig Breslow.
I'm not sure if I should ask why you're sorry about it or what. But we're glad to have you.
Yeah,
we're glad to have you.
Well, I mean, this is back-to-back series wins, and you are day off today, and Yankees are back again here at Fenway this weekend. So I understand it's a long season, but how important at this point in June does it become when it comes to winning these series, especially when you get off to a slower start?
Yeah, no, I think we've talked for a few weeks now. We're past it's early stage of the season, and this is a stretch that we had circled as pretty critical, given we've got two of the three series against the Yankees, and then the other sandwich between those is Tampa, who we're also trying to chase down in the division, and really good to play a good series in New York and then to come back home and win the series with a good, clean win last night. Everybody can relax today with the off day, but we've got to get ready to do this all over again. We know this weekend should be exciting. There should be a lot of energy around Fenway, but these are really meaningful games and really important games for us.
Craig, it seems like we've been seeing less pitchers during games. We had 4 yesterday, 3 earlier in the week. Has there been a conscious effort for you guys to cut down on the amount of pitchers we're seeing in games and get more out of these guys?
I think that's a byproduct of trying to do everything we can to win games, and sometimes that means when our starters are struggling or inconsistent, trying to find better matchups in the bullpen. But what we've seen, is rather than going into a game and saying our starter is going to give us 6 innings or going to give us 7 innings, we saw, Bayo, Giolito, and Walker last night able to control the lineup, get through the lineup 3 times and pitch deeper into games. And then as a result, it's a lot easier to find those matchups. The bullpen's better rested. So I think it's working backwards from how do we give ourselves the best chance of winning the game. And when the starting pitching is throwing well and we can ride those guys, that's the blueprint.
We've been going back and forth last couple days on the approach when it comes to the young guys and whether or not they sit against lefties. Alex Cora was on this radio station talking about it yesterday. Lou Merloni was on it talking about yesterday, was on this radio station talking about how it seems like the right decision. Is that something that you guys are doing out of an abundance of caution? Is that a baseball decision? Let us in on that a little bit.
Sure. So we're here to win games in the big leagues. Hard stop at the end of that statement, and doing so at times is going to mean that there are some matchups that we want guys like Marcelo or Roman or Christian to have. But when with the left-handed hitters in particular, when you've got guys like Ref and Romy who really feast off of left-handed pitching, I think both of those guys are carrying OPSs above 950 and have gotten really big hits in crucial situations for us. We want to use those guys if they give us a better chance of winning the game. And there will be times when it's lower leverage moments, it's a better matchup, and Roman or Marcelo are going to get the at-bats first left. But at the same time, in the same way that we want to use a reliever who gives us the best chance or the best defender who gives us the best chance to win a game, we also have to do the same thing with the at-bats.
And how that decision-making process is that you and Alex together, is how much do you rely on the analytics for that?
Yeah, so Alex and I will have conversations before games or heading into series about matchups that we think are really favorable and matchups that we'd want to stay away from. And then once the game starts, it's Alex's decision. He's the manager. We have confidence in his ability to synthesize the information that he has before a game with kind of the real-time data that he's getting by watching the game and feeling the game.
Craig, when you look at your starting pitching, you brought this up in the whether it was Bayo last night with Walker Buehler really being good and being able to give you 5 or 6 innings. But one area that you guys struggled is in the first inning with your pitchers. What's the reasoning behind why there's been so many struggles with first innings with your pitches?
Yeah, I wish I had a perfect answer, but it's something that we are very, very mindful of. The combination of first inning struggles and particularly first inning at home, and I think there's probably some physical component to that. There's probably some mental component to that. I know Andrew and the rest of the pitching group have been working with the starters to figure out if we can replicate or simulate a first inning. Sometimes you can get up and throw in the bullpen, sit down, and get back up, so that when you go into the game, you feel like it's more the second or third. But there's no doubt that our guys have struggled at times to settle into the game, and then we've seen that once we get through the first or second inning, and Bayo is a great example of this. Once they get through the first or second inning, they're able to settle in, and you look up and it's the sixth or seventh.
Craig, we've asked you a lot throughout this season about when Roman Anthony would be called up. Now that he's up here, what was the change that made it you sure that you could call him up to Major League? Because there was a lot of talk with you about the mental aspect of the game, calling up a young guy like Roman Anthony.
Yeah, so we had talked about making sure that there was clear runway for him to play, and it making sense and being the best thing for Roman and also for our team. Unfortunately, Willie ended up on the IL, but it seems as though that should be a pretty straightforward, hopefully shorter stint to where it doesn't seem like a major injury, more just kind of mild tightness in the oblique. But that opened up a clear path to playing time. And given what Roman has done over the last couple of months, and some of the progress that he's made in the development areas, it felt like this was his time.
You made a trade last night, which should hopefully help the bullpen out a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So, Jorge Alcala is somebody with really big stuff. He's been a successful reliever in the big leagues, for multiple seasons, and we felt like he's going to bring a little bit more swing and miss, a little bit more back end power stuff to the group, and it's a group that we've had to ride pretty hard as our starters have struggled to consistently get deep in games. So excited about the addition and hope he can settle in.